Thank you so much. I'm very delighted to be here today. Today I'm speaking on the industry perspective, not on the PhD research on high reliability organization. Post-Macondo, the incident in the Gulf of Mexico dramatically changes how we work on preventing major accidents. We realize that we have to put much more emphasis on learning, not only what to learn, but also on how to learn. So we probably in the future we will always talk about post-Macondo because it's a shift. It's a major kind of nearly a paradigm shift in how we work on preventing major accident because there's so much more emphasis on learning. The organization that I represent, OLF, is an employer organization, and as you see, we have quite a lot of oil companies as our members. The number has increased quite a lot the last couple of years since we have lots of these small oil companies coming into the Norwegian continental shelf. We call them mosquitoes. I think that's a cute name. Maybe not the best. And also we have 53 supplier companies. It's the oil service companies, we have drilling companies, we have catering companies as well. Most of the vendors that you need to do the offshore services. As you see, we employ about 29,000 people within our area of in the oil and gas industry. What I'm going to talk about today is the post-Macondo initiative that we've been taking in the industry, the new organization structure we have for this project, how we work, and I should have said the first lesson learned, or the lesson learned so far, because we will continue to see how we can learn, as I said, how we can learn on different levels within our organizations. And I will also talk something a bit about what we did prior to the accident, or what initiative we started and what work we have ongoing on major accident or preventing major accident in our organization. And of course, we have to calibrate ourselves with the international initiatives because we want to ensure mobility of the workforce. We also have to be in line with EU regulatory requirements on free competition. So we have to ensure what we do, whatever, is in line with the policy that regulates free movement across borders. And I will also give a short, finally, in the end, a short status on the way ahead, what we're doing, what our plans are. When the incident happened in April, we were all shocked, and we immediately started gathering as much information as possible and what was available. And I would like to add to this that we met the Admiral Ted Allen from the US Coast Guard. And he told us that, you know, in the beginning that there was so many speculation out there, there was so much information. So they immediately started to launch all the facts they had available. They had very close collaboration with BP to make all the facts available so people could gather facts. But in our work, I have to emphasize that we are basing our facts on the investigation, the public investigation reports. What we also did in OLF, quite close, that was in May, we started this study. We asked DNV to do a comparison of the regulatory system in Norway and in the US to see if there's any difference in this regulatory system that might have an impact on the work that we're going to continue to work on to lesson learn, but also what happened with the incidents. And of course, this quite different system. Our system is performance-based, as in the US it's descriptive, or you can say, the short way of saying it, it's a descriptive base. The performance-based is based on the knowledge on what is the expertise lays or stays within is held in the industry. We have quite a high expertise on knowledge on what is and how to define a robust organization operation. So, and then the safety authorities, they approve our plans for activities. So we define it, and each company might have a different way of looking at how they would ensure a robust and safe operation within their activities. So it gives room for this way of working. UK has a similar regulatory system. They call it, I guess, a more goal-oriented system. And early summer, we established the Deepwater Horizon follow-up project. And this is the structure of this project. We have several committees at OLF, and we, of course, as it is at the beginning, we looked at the well incidents and what was going on with the BOP, and it was most likely and most rational to put it under the responsibility of the Operation Executive Committee's area. The project is a joint industry project, so we have people, expert in the industry, coming into us and work with us. And OLF put quite a lot of resources into this project, and also the NUFO organization. We work on 3 priorities area. It's, of course, prevention, and then we have intervention, which OKP talked about, and also the response issue. So the intervention issue is very special because we, as an association, we don't work on technology development. So that's why we are working very closely with OKP on the capping and containment project of this type of intervention. Our member companies are, lots of them, or quite a few of them, are in the OKP project. Next week, OKP is coming to us, to Norway, and we're going to see the safety authority together, and we're going to present the plans for the development. So we show and we work, so we show the authorities that we have a very close collaboration with OKP and their work. I'm not going to say so much more about capping and containment. On the prevention area, we have all these subgroups, and each subgroup has a project leader or a team leader, and they report into the project group. And we also have similar on the response issues. I will give a more update on the development when I come to the status. The company that's in this group is Statoil, Shell, ConocoPhillips, the Norske, the Norwegian oil company. We also have ExxonMobil on board, Halliburton, and of course, resources from OLF. We are 15 persons on this project. We meet every week, or in subgroups or in the project group. I myself is on this project, and 4 of us is full-time dedicated, and the rest is, the expert is also in the regular job in their companies. But we also rely on the already established infrastructure in OLF, because we have lots of other expert groups, which I also will tell you about. And the scope was, as I said to begin with, to collect as much information as possible to see what we can learn from the incident. And we first started with the BP report, the BP internal investigation report that was launched in September. And of course, this is a technical operational report that focuses on technical operational issues. So that's what we start working on at first. Now, as the National Commission report has been launched, we have moved into other issues that's mentioned on lesson learned in this report. But these recommendations are still under process. The way we work with the BP report, we look at the lesson learned. We took the lesson learned and transformed them into questionnaires, and we made surveys, and we interviewed other companies, our member companies, not all of them, some selected companies. And then we could kind of have a feedback on the state of art. And that was quite a high learning, in addition to raising awareness on these issues Based on the feedback, we turned this into new recommendations. And the first sets of recommendations are already available at our website. So we have a very high transparency on this. Well, when it comes to issues related to competency, they're not public yet because we want to calibrate them, particularly with the Oil and Gas UK OSPROX initiative, so we can ensure that we develop in the same direction, even though we have different systems for how we approach competences. And the lesson learned, I should say, so far, and the recommendation initiated is, as I said, well related. It calls for a revision of procedures and standards, and this is much on what to learn. But it's also partly on how to learn. But I said earlier, there is so many ways of taking learning forward. But this is how we started with the sharp end, with a well community to learn. And we also fed this into to our NORSOK standards. We started this work, and some say, why don't you immediately start with ISO and the international standards? And for us, this is the way we start first with the NORSOK, and it might end up in ISO or API standards, other international standards. The O10 is about well integrity, and the other one is on drilling facilities. No, OLF is not, we don't have authority to, like the safety authority. So when it comes to changing or revising of internal governance documents within each operating company, we sent a request to them to revise their own internal documentation on important issues related to the findings of the BP report. And we asked them to revise them and change what's necessary if they see that there is any need for changes. And this is particularly an issue of management of change and bridging documents. And we learned quite a lot, as I said, by interviewing and this questionnaire with the companies, because we saw that there was different concepts and role understanding between some of the contractors, operators, companies, of the mutual understanding what is management of change document, and how do you work on it, and how do you work with bridging documents. So it's in here. There's also lots of lesson learns that we will also take further, wider than this. The current activities that we're working on is, as I said, we are proposing standardized reporting and investigation methodology for well incident. And this is also some part of the ongoing activity on the preventing major accident, because we also monitoring the well incidents, but we don't know enough about these well incidents and different categories at the overall level to monitor and say the severity of the trends that we see. So far, yeah. And we also work on gap analysis to see how we prepared if the worst case scenario is happening in Norway, how we can reduce the harm. This is studies and research that NOFO has launched. And they also look at expanding the North Sea cooperation with the Oil and Gas UK. And burning is not what we have been doing as a response activity, because we've been very mechanical in our approach. And also, as was mentioned earlier, the use of dispersants is also a new issue that we're looking into. And we see this is also having a tremendous impact on the emergency response, how far the ship and the boats can move into installations. And of course, we continue the close collaboration we have on top level with OGP and the Gear Group. And we're also preparing a report on the environmental effect, but we won't provide any or make any recommendation on environment, because we're collecting all the information we can get from the experience and they've done in the US, and we feed this into a database or knowledge base that we have. So we can make learnings and further research based on this knowledge base that we're building up. When it comes to these issues and areas of interest, we also want to focus on management system, roles and responsibilities, and agency, culture, leadership. This is now being discussed. And we work on the same methodology as we picked up from the BP report. We see what they're discussing in the National Commission's report, how they approach the lesson learned, and we look further into this. And we're also planning a workshop on chemical exposure, because that's also an issue. We have for a long time in OLF worked on chemical exposure. We have an ongoing project. It will end this year. And we gain knowledge from this project that we fit into the Deepwater Horizon project. So we will have a workshop coming up in May together with the unions, because the unions are very concerned about this issue, and the safety authority. The future activities that we're working on is to progress on a mobile unit design, the improvements. We work closely with the ship owners, or we will start working closely. We initiated contact with the Ship Owner Association, but this is, once again, I have to emphasize that what we do here has to be looked in an international perspective. So it's quite a lot of work. And we would also like to learn more about unified command and see how this incident command system and unified command approach may work in Norway. So this is also a project, a separate project, where Statoil would like to take the lead. Yes, and now I'm into the activities we did prior to the Macondo incident. What we do on preventing major accident risk. So we have lots of networks working on HSE in general, and we have some that particularly focus on major accident risk. And we also have lots of ongoing projects. I'm not going to show you all this work because it's quite a lot of work, and we have a task force. But what we've done, we started a couple of years ago, that was the project on gas leaks. And we saw that we identified the needs for further training. So we started developing curriculum, training courses. So the whole industry, the operators and the vendors are going through these courses in the specific areas, as you see here, valves and flange and fittings and process. So that's a tremendous work that's going on. And that's to raise the awareness of the importance of this work, as well as also the knowledge and the skills. And then we also have, for a long time, we had this drilling manager forum, and this is really where the high expertise in the oil industry meets. And they are people from this organization or this forum takes part in all the work we do. Without this expertise, it'd be quite tough starting this work, because they had already start on lots of these issues before Macondo. But we started about also this well integrity group. I think it would also be interesting just to mention here, maybe it's a digression though, that Ted Allen said when he was worked on unified command, he had control of everything that was on sea, moving on sea, that was on sea, but he didn't have control of the air. But he did get it. He said he talked to President Obama about this issue, because there were so many near collision in air, because of the incident, so high traffic. And this is also a learning point that we've not been talking about yet in Norway. But we do have a project on preventing major accident on ships on a collision course, which we progress on. So to sum up, what we have ongoing in our business is this gas leakage. And the trend is that we have the number of gas leakage this year increased, but it's not a significant increase of gas leakage. So in long term, it has improved quite a lot. We also have the well incident group, as I said, where the experts meet and share experience. and also doing this work on categorizing of well incidents. But I also have guidelines and training and handovers documents. So it's a sharing and learning community between the member companies. And there's lots of energy in this group. And they're very active. And then we have this project, as I said, on ship on collision. And there's guidelines coming up of this group. And this also shows a good trend in this monitoring, because we started this monitoring, increased the monitoring of the sea areas. And this showed that this is an area where we see significant improvement. Yeah, I told you about this drilling management forum, and I understand that Oil and Gas UK didn't have this type of forum, but they would like to install or set up a forum similar to us and learn to take the learning further. And we also look closely to what OGP and GERG is doing in this area. And of course, I think it's very important when you want to raise awareness of this very critical type of work, that the experts within the company comes together and discuss this area and share learnings, and also facilities other projects where they can share learnings and discuss and bring back to the other companies. And what we see that lots of what's been going on in this Well Integrity Forum and this Sharing to Be Better Forum, what they share and what they learn. This is something they're sharing worldwide. We see that within the companies, for instance, the ConocoPhillips members are finding significant learning points. This then, of course, they're a global organization, and we see some of the discussion is coming back to us again and coming back to the group. So this is a very valuable work that we're doing. We also, as I said, we monitor what's going on international to be in line with what's going on. And we also want to be proactive because we have a good dialogue with the safety authorities in Norway. And we think that the more that we show that we take responsibility for, the more likely it is that we can agree that we are satisfied with the way that our regular system works, the performance-based system works. And we also know the Norwegian safety authorities work very closely with the other North Sea regulators, and of course with the International Regulatory Forum. And so we have a good dialogue, and we get feedbacks on their work, what they're working on, what they have on their high priority, and so there's lots of learning potential in what we're working on. And particularly, as I said, the main project we follow, also with the recommendations, is with OGP. They've been here with us, meeting with us. We had telephone conferences with them on a regular basis, and we meet them. We also have met at different levels with Oil and Gas UK. We have worked as the team that the project group has members of their project group in Osprag, but also all management have met their management. We have not had that much contact with IPI yet. We have some dialogue, but we also have this European organization of association that also meet and share. They just had recently had a meeting in Brussels. We follow quite a lot, we follow closely on what EU is doing. We have some concerns about their way of wish to regulate. So we work on this issue too. We follow the OSPRAG EU issue group, and we also follow the OGP EU issue group on mutual concern, and also the follow-up initiatives. We know that ERF is going to have a conference in Stavanger this year in October, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, where these issues about post-Macondo is coming up. So that's why we think this dialogue and very open approach on what's going on in the industry is very, very important. So we can discuss and follow up of on issues that's important for us, and that we also know what to expect from them. And it's same with NSO-AF. Yes, this is how far, this is the status as of today. Okay. We've gone through, as I said, the BP report. All the recommendation from the BP report so far is available on OLF's website on the Deepwater Horizon follow-up project, so if you like to learn and see what's going on. But I said, as this is mostly or mainly upgrading of standards and procedures, but there's quite a lot of valuable knowledge in this updating of procedures and standards. So this is not just the what, but also how we spread this knowledge. And we're planning to have another workshop on these issues for the well community in early summer. And in the fall, we probably have a new follow-up seminar with the safety authorities, but then to spread this information to a broader audience. And we also have to work on how to kind of enhance learning in many, many different ways. And then we're now finalizing the review of the National Commission reports, and these recommendations are on the ways. And I think myself, the National Commission report is interesting in ways of the way the methodology they use for identify the causes. As now they talk about communication issues as root causes, and which in Norway perspective, Norwegian methodology, this would be an underlying causes, but it's a shift in how you view root causes and underlying causes. And of course, I think I said it many times, we look quite a lot to UK, to Europe, or in particular OGP, to calibrate with them on what they're doing, to follow their work. And our safety authority is very, very concerned with the capping and containment issues. So that's why we really have a high focus on this. And as I said, in next week, we prepared for a long time for this next week meeting. And we have this general work we will have ongoing as a possible conduct work, even if the project probably stop in the end of December. We're not sure for how long the project will be on, but we will continue to learn. That's the mantra now. It's really how to learn and take this further. And to take this further, I think we also have to think about how to institutionalize it. How do you say institutionalize it? To get it into the education system, to raise the awareness for each of the professionals, and also for the trade certificates workers like cementers and all these trade certificates we have in the public system, how they view risk and raise the risk awareness in their work processes. Okay, I think I'll say thank you.